The Locked On Podcast Network presents the NBA Big 3 in 30. The 3 biggest stories in the NBA from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The NBA Big 3 in 30 starts now with the biggest stories in the NBA.
Cooper Flagg is getting shut down for Summer League. Well, let's start here, Isaac Harris. Cooper Flagg gets shut down according to Mark Stein. We had heard this, that he was only going to play 2 games. I was excited that he got to play 2 games. I was out there. We did shows out there, and so you can go listen to those episodes about Cooper Flagg and how he played in his first 2 Summer League games and only 2 Summer League games, and probably the only 2 Summer League games of his career. Because we saw him go out there, and we saw him play, and to me, there was many moments during both games where he looked like the best player on the court. And that's what you want from your number 1 pick, the guy that is supposed to be leading your franchise into the future, into the great beyond, hopefully for decades coming forward. Now they're shutting him down with 2 games. As I heard this, I knew it was coming. I had been telling everybody in the text line forever that it was going to just be 2 games probably. I was telling everybody that I talked to at Summer League it's probably just going to be 2 games. And yet it made me think, what's the point of even playing him 2 games? If it's only going to be 2 games, that's the question that I kind of got stuck with today, where I was like, wait a minute. I know that this is a thing. It was going to be a thing. It was said it was going to be a thing. And then I just thought, well, what's the point of even him playing the 2 games? Is 41 shots enough? It's a great number, but is that enough shots? Is 60 minutes against ball pressure when he was the lead ball handler at times? Is that enough to even help him grow? Is 2 games enough? Like, did we see enough of Cooper Flagg?
No, I mean, I think you always selfishly want more as a fan. But the reasoning behind you play a guy like Cooper Flagg, you know what, it helps out a fan base that's been down bad. So, I think if, there's a lot of basketball reasons why. I mean, all the top prospects typically always play at least a game or 2. And it's fun. It's fun for the league. It's fun for fans. It's fun for them just to get out there and get some run with their new team. Considering the last time they played was either with their overseas team or a college team, whatever. But specifically for the Mavericks, I mean, we know what the last months, ever since February and the trade and the Luka fallout and all the different stuff. I mean, it's no matter where you stand on it and everybody shouts and is like, get over it, or I will never get over it.
You're not talking about it enough.
There is, the polarizing sides are insane. It's still made like the fan base a collective. It was a tough stretch. Like the fan base is going through the mud for the most part, and just all the fallout from it. So if there's ever a time that you need your next franchise cornerstone that you lucked into and was awesome, and it's awesome. Like, we're so thankful that they lucked into Cooper Flagg. If there's ever a time you need Cooper Flagg to suit up with Dallas across his chest and for the whole fan base to get excited again about basketball and to see a stud out there just like and dreaming about the future and having hope and energy again for your fan base, that's what those 41 shots does, and those, the 63 out of 80 minutes that you could possibly play out there. There's a lot of people excited, and there's a lot of Mavs fans and stuff randomly in my life that's like, dude, what about this Cooper kid? Like, is he that good? And it's brought a different conversation buzz around being a Mavs fan that they desperately needed.
They played Cooper Flagg for vibes?
Maybe.
Functionally, I look at it, and yeah, obviously they needed the vibes. They needed to be better. NBA Summer League, as just a construct, needed Cooper Flagg to play. I talked to some people that run it, and they were like, are you sure he's only going to play 2 games? Like, okay, are we sure we can't get a third out of him? And I was like, it just doesn't sound like it. I mean, he's gonna play more.
But everybody's missing games, though. And that's kind of like sucky, too, because it's like, I mean, how many of these top guys have missed games for... Ace hasn't been playing. Dylan Harper missed the first game. VJ hasn't been playing. Some of it's not all been like injuries either. It's just like, hey, we're holding the guy, like, type of thing. So it's not like it's hey, Cooper's the only guy that's not playing out there. They're all missing games.
Well, and he played, right? Harper's only played 16 minutes that we saw against the Mavs. He didn't play in game 1. And so, I mean, at least Cooper played and like fulfilled his duty, basically.
His destiny.
He basically did. But I think we saw enough to know proof of concept of Cooper Flagg, right? Like I think we've seen enough of that. I don't think we've seen enough in terms of giving him enough reps in order for him to get better at the things that they were asking him to do. You know, like if that's the things that they kept telling us. We said it on the show multiple times. They wanted him to be the ball handler so that he could get reps against like some fringe level NBA defenders and sometimes some really good ones, and like Carter Bryant and others. Bronny James being one is, you know, NBA level defender. Like just the legacy of his family and just the way, like the genes and how his dad is just like
his dad didn't even want to be interviewed.
We may have to talk about that at some point soon.
No, what are we going to talk about?
LeBron James
again.
Isaac hates LeBron. That's why I love bringing up anytime I can. But I think that the way that the Mavs pitched it was like, we want him to get these reps. Well, I don't think he got enough reps to like grow that much if you're only going to play 2 games. But I get why they did it, and I do think we saw enough of him to know that all right, he's going to be able to do a lot of these things that we hoped on the NBA level.
It's enough for us to be excited about what he could be alongside the other guys. If he was going to a situation like Brooklyn, then this is probably pretty much what it's going to look like what you saw in those 2 games.
Wizards, the Wizards rosters,
of just like giving him the ball and it's like, have fun, let's, you know, like trial by air. But it's like, I feel like we got to see him. Yeah, he had the ball and he brought the ball to the floor and different things, but it got us enough. It was like a small little appetizer that they bring out to the table, and it got us enough excited of like, man, like the main course of like what it's going to be with these other guys. Like it's not like things would have to go drastically wrong for what it looked like in Summer League and that role to be the exact same role. I mean, we're talking like a lot of injuries and everything, but I am so much more, I was excited before, but I'm so much more excited to see this Cooper Flagg alongside AD and Lively and Clay and I mean, D'Lo to start, Kyrie. I'm just so excited for that because that's his goals. They said on the broadcast, they asked him like, hey, what's your goals for the season? He's like, obviously I want, I'd love to win Rookie of the Year, but his main thing is like, I want to contribute at a high level with all those other guys. And that's the cool thing is like, I think we're going to be able to see Cooper maximized like in his rookie season, but in this win now situation with all these other guys around, it's going to be so much fun, man.
It's going to be weird because he's not like coming in as the star.
Yeah.
He will not be the best player on his team, and that doesn't happen very often to the number 1 pick guy. It happened at Shea with Trae Young, last year, but it doesn't happen very often. Also, do you know you said trial by error?
Trial by fire?
Trial by fire or trial and error.
Let's go.
Took me a second, and I was like,
that's why you were laughing over there.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what did he just say?
Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drink, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and the lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, the lowest price guaranteed.
You are Locked On Bucks, your daily Milwaukee Bucks podcast.
A guy that we brought up early into the offseason, and not like we were the only ones saying this. I think a lot of Bucks fans kept that name in mind even before the Damian Lillard news. And that's Cole Anthony, who Shams and a few others have reported has agreed to a buyout with the Memphis Grizzlies. Remember, he was in that Desmond Bane trade. So he moves into a crowded situation in Memphis with Ja Morant, Scottie Pippen Jr., and bought out and expects to sign with the Milwaukee Bucks. So your thoughts when you saw that news and the potential impact here of a Cole Anthony in Milwaukee?
My first thought was, okay, well, that's the other point guard that the Bucks are looking to acquire for their roster. We've heard that they wanted another point guard on the roster, but we were hearing that they were looking more so for a veteran point guard to bring on the roster. And you look at Cole Anthony, like he's already played 5 seasons in the NBA. I'd call him like a younger vet, just given the fact that he got into the league at the age of like 19, 20. So
Yeah.
he was younger at the start there. He's 25 years old now, entering into his 6th NBA season. He spent his whole career with Orlando. And when I think of Cole Anthony, I think of a bucket, like a guy off the bench who can come in and just light it up a little bit for you. If he gets hot, he can get really hot really quick and pour him in. But another guy who's a little bit undersized, 6'1", 6'2". He tries on defense. He gives a lot of effort on the side of the ball. But as we've mentioned, and I quoted the Mind the Game podcast with Kevin Durant and LeBron James talking about how it's hard for 6'1", 6'2" point guards to start in today's NBA. But Cole Anthony coming off the bench as a scoring punch for you. Again, a 1-year contract. He has stuff to prove himself. I'm here for it. I was like, I'm here for it. I am so here for this signing. I'd much rather the Bucks go the route of another younger point guard rather than an older point guard. Even with the lumps that might come with that, this is the way that I would like for the team to go. So I was happy with the move.
Yeah, it kind of corners the market. I'd shade him in as a point guard, but he is kind of a combo guard. He's a bit undersized to be a combo guard, but the Bucks have kind of cornered the market on those types with Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins, and now Cole Anthony. One of the more interesting discussions, too, when you knew you just had Ryan Rollins and KPJ under contract was, well, who's the starting point guard? Is it Kevin Porter Jr.? Is it Ryan Rollins? And last year we talked about the fit that Rollins has with that group, specifically Giannis, an ability to play off ball and kind of thrive as a spot up shooter that I was leaning towards. I think it kind of works better if you start Rollins and KPJ is kind of leading the charge along with Bobby Portis as your offense off the bench. This move, assuming it's finalized, changes that for me because I think there's a lot of duplicative parts to the games of Kevin Porter Jr. and Cole Anthony. I think KPJ's talent is certainly higher, but I think that's the ideal role for Cole Anthony. We talked about him being a bucket, that he's the guy that can kind of jump charge your offense in the half court. When you have Giannis off the floor, you just need some baskets here. That's where Cole Anthony comes in for you. So I do kind of think this means you're starting 5. We know 4 of them, I would say, in Kevin Porter Jr., Giannis, Miles Turner, and Gary Trent Jr. I'm still not quite sure about the 3 spot, which we'll get to when we now start to take a look at the makeup of this roster. But I think the big thing is you touched on the Bucks finding value the past couple of years for these minimum contracts. And to be fair, the Bucks aren't the only team doing so. We've talked about before this new CBA and how it's put a really big squeeze on the middle class. That's only going to continue. So you're able to get guys like a Cole Anthony on the minimum. You're able to keep Gary Trent Jr. on minimums or 120% raise and sign him last year to the minimum. So you're finding value there. And again, it's just overnight, seemingly, how John Horst has reshaped this roster. Whether or not they are a serious title contender, totally different argument. But this team has gotten much more athletic, much younger, in seemingly the blink of an eye, where we talked about the pace, and you and I were texting during that first Summer League game too. Man, music to our ears to hear Doc Rivers say, everything is going to run through Giannis, and we have to play faster. That's the bigger thing when you look at, okay, younger guys that are going to want to get up and run up and down the floor, opposed to more of a half-court set here.
Mm-hmm. And Cole Anthony fits right into that framework as well. When I saw the news drop too, I reached out to the host of Locked On Magic, Philip, and I was just like, Phil, it's like Cole Anthony's coming to the Bucks. Like, what do you think about the move? I was like, because when I think of Cole Anthony, it's like I mentioned already, of like score first point.
I think of one thing in particular, but I'll let you finish your point first.
And Philip added, like, I would describe him as a score first guard. He can get to his shot quickly, score off the dribble. Doesn't have the point guard skills you would want from a player of his size. But if you have other guys that can handle the ball, like, it works really well with him. And the part about Cole Anthony that he really wanted to highlight was just that he's like the best teammate. And he said he described Cole Anthony as somebody who believed in the Magic rebuild before anyone else did. Even when he was moved from the starting lineup to the bench, took it in stride. Just, he said, a phenomenal teammate, a guy who's great for your culture. He's always cheering on his guys, and he can be good enough to win you a couple of games on his own if he gets hot. So like, he's like, I love the fit of Cole Anthony in Milwaukee. I think with Giannis being the guy who is initiating a lot more often, he fits in well. And I added too, like, if you have a Miles Turner, a Giannis behind you, it can help clean up some things if you do get beat. But he does compete. It's just, again, he's a smaller point guard, but he should be a great addition to the team.
Yeah, very good teammate by all accounts. Great dancer too, as everybody's seen the intro videos. But yeah, what stands out to me is I talked to somebody else and just said, let me know if I'm off base here, because I have seen, I don't know how to really sum up Cole Anthony's defense. I think a lot of Magic fans would tell you not good. And some of the maybe tiptoeing around what you and Philip were talking about there. But he's a guy that has put together highlight reels of insane individual defensive plays that I don't think he's the best defender. I don't think he's the worst. So to your point about having that support of capable team defenders around you and guys that can clean up the mess like Giannis and Miles Turner behind you is certainly something just about anybody would want to have to be playing alongside. But to me, the one thing, and I guess just to wrap up the overall, what are you getting here? Yeah, I think his point too on doesn't really have the pure point guard skills you'd like for somebody of his size, but shot making ability, especially mid-rangers, that's where he gets his shot most frequently. Mm-hmm. He's okay on 3-point shooting. I think he's a career 36%, somewhere in that range. But he was really good last year on corner threes. And that is an area that you think there should be a pretty big opportunity in the minutes, especially when he's on the floor with Giannis, to generate those types of looks on drive and kicks and spot up shooting threes. But he's a great rebounder for his size and was in, I believe, the 96th percentile in shot blocking for point guards. And that's the one thing I will always remember, Camille. Was it last year or 2 years ago when Cole Anthony met Giannis at the summit and blocked him in Fiserv Forum?
I think it was last year, but I do remember being surprised that the little man got some hops. He got up there again. I think that goes again to what we were talking about with when it comes to defense. Like, yes, he'll get picked on because of his size. Yes, sometimes it won't look pretty, but the effort is going to be there for him on that side of the ball. He's not taking possessions off. He's trying. Again, the size might hinder him at times, but he's going to go after it. Like, he has that, I feel like this has become a overused term, but he has that dog mentality in him a little bit on that end of the ball. Like, it might not always be the prettiest, but like you will always applaud the effort at the very least.
Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Look, they're saving you money already.
Kyle Filipowski continues to dominate Summer League. Did the Jazz get the steal of the 2024 draft?
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz.
I want to talk about Kyle Filipowski, who is dominating Summer League. So as a second-year player, he is Salt Lake and Vegas, and he's the best player on the floor when he plays right now, particularly offensively. He's gone, 22, 32, 21, 18. He did have an 11-point ball game. And he's been dominant. And so the question is, first of all, that's pretty great on what was a not very good draft, right? Last year's draft is probably the draft that has had the least success in its opening year of any draft class ever. And Kyle was 10th in minutes played, and he was 7th in points, and he was 5th in rebounds overall, and he was 8th in assists. His three-point shooting, which for a while was near the top, it's kind of hard, depends. Of guys who played 1,000 minutes, Kyle finished up with the 5th best three-point shooting at 35%. Connect was 1. Bazulis was 2. Zachary Rijache was 3. Jalen Wells was 4. And Kyle was 5. So really, he had an incredible season. His win shares weren't great. That's for 48. That slipped him down a little bit, but a lot of those guys didn't play much. Of guys who played at least 1,000 minutes, his win shares, I think, were 7th best. His box plus minus, again, of guys that played about 1,000 minutes, I think, was 4th best. So here's the 32nd pick of a draft, of a not very good draft, who had a really good, effective rookie year and really may be the steal of the 2024 NBA draft. Now, the 2024 NBA draft may have 3 rotation players by the time we're done, and he may be one of them, or there may be 4 or 5, and he's one of them. But that's pretty awesome. I mean, I watched Reed Shepherd last night and yesterday afternoon in Vegas, 3rd pick of the draft. He did not look good. Like, that's the 3rd pick. Khalil Ware, who was the 15th pick of the draft, did not have a good Vegas. So the fact that we have Kyle Filipowski coming to Vegas and dominating, it's a great sign. Alex Sarr's playing. He looks okay. Ron Holland was the 5th pick, did not look great. Got out and ran a little bit, hit a shot or 2, but didn't look great. Rob Dillingham, I watched, who was the 8th pick of the draft, does not look great. Cody Williams looking better than a lot of these guys. Bazelis looked pretty good. I watched a Bulls game in the small gym, and I thought Bazelis looked pretty good, which is going to be really interesting. So let's dig in to Kyle. First of all, let's talk about the Summer League. Some positives and some negatives here. The amount of fouls is a little disconcerting, right? So he's had 5, 4, 6, 8, and 8 personal fouls in the last few games. The overall shooting, he's shooting at 53% overall, 29% from 3, and 74% from the free throw line. So first, the free throw line's great. He looks so much better at the free throw line. Remember last year, Kyle's free throw shooting was really poor. Kyle shot 65% from the free throw line last year. So his free throw shooting, which has been a little less good the last 2 days in Vegas, just looks so much better. The 29% three-point shooting is probably a little bit of let's keep an eye on that, because almost all of his offensive dominance, which is going to make him a rotation player, is going to be predicated on this three-point shooting. Now, in a summer league setting where he's the best player on the floor, he may be shooting a few more than he would otherwise. But if you remember, last year was a little roller coastery with his three-point shooting. In fact, do I have my notes over here? Yes. He starts the year up till February only shooting 30%. Then from February to March 25th, he goes to 47%. And then he closes the year just 11 of 53 from 3. So they remember that Mike Williams and Andrew Warren go through all this shooting work with him. But then he closes the year tired, I think. 11 of 53 from 3, which is not ideal. He's so far in Summer League, obviously these are small sample sizes. He's 8 of 28 for 29%. If he has one game, that swings. He is doing what he's really, really doing well is finishing at 59% on 2s. So there's 2 ways to look at this. One is he is a very good crafty rim finisher, which is great. The second one to look at, maybe if you want to have a negative eye or not be as maybe more cautious than I'm being right now, is that I'm not in the Summer League. This is where like Summer League is really different, is there aren't as many bigs, and Kyle's scoring over a lot of 6'5" guys right now. But Kyle last year, and this is going to be a big step, shot 66% at the rim, which is only in the 39th percentile. But as a rookie, I think that's probably fine. That's an area where I think he really can improve. His mid-range shooting was 55%. And so he's showing a lot of that again. So that's pretty exciting. That's good signs. We're going to dig in next. A little geekiness coming. We're going to dig in through dunks and threes and B-ball index and really dive into his numbers last year and see if we can see where the upward trajectory is going to be and where Kyle Filipowski can be the steal of the 2024 draft. And then maybe the most important question still out there is like, what position does he play? That one is the one that still keeps me up wondering where he's going to play. But a dominating summer league leading you to wonder whether this is the steal of the 2024 draft. If that anybody else went down to Vegas Summer League, been a bummer not to see Ace Bailey. That groin injury is real, by the way. They're not shutting him down. Even the other day, I know he went through a 3-on-3 trying to get ready. We saw Walt Clayton's hamstring was real. I don't know if that's because of, who knows? I mean, Ace Bailey, the easy answer is to say, well, he didn't work out as much, and so therefore he maybe wasn't as ready. Walt Clayton did, so then that's an easy answer to say, well, he's worn out because of the fact that he was traveling all across the country, going through all these draft workouts. So I don't know the answer. Like you can really take both sides of this. But it's a bummer not to get those reps and those actions. All right, let's take a look at Kyle. There's a few sites I like to use. One of them is called Dunks and Threes, and that's been built by Tyler Schnarr, who is a Utah kid who actually used to work for the Jazz for a long time, may still actually in some capacity. So he does some really, really good work. So if you're watching on YouTube, I think wait a sec. Well, I don't want to share my sign in. They've signed me out. That's funny. I have to unshare here because of the fact I did the prep before the show started. And then when I just went here, they wanted me to log back in. So we will not be sharing that. All right, here we go. So Kyle, if we look at Kyle last year, just on some big overall estimated plus minus numbers, just to get an idea of where he ranked, he seemed to rank for the season in his overall rankings of things. If we look at Jazz players and where the Jazz rank out and all their players, Kyle Filipowski last year was in the 70th percentile in offensive plus minus. It's pretty great for a rookie. He was our 5th best offensive player. Lowry Markkanen, Colin Sexton, John Collins, Jordan Clarkson, Kyle Filipowski, which leaves him as our second best offensive player at this point on estimated plus minus. His defense honestly was no worse than everybody else on the roster. It was bad. He's in the 11th percentile of all defensive players, but Jordan was worse. Isaiah Collier was worse. Colin Sexton was worse. Cody Williams was worse. Johnny Juzang was worse. Bryce Sensabaugh was worse, and Keontae was the worst in the NBA. So Kyle's in the 11th percentile defensively, and then all these other guys are less good, which is we got to get better defensively. On his overall estimated plus minus, as a rookie, Lowry was the best, then John Walker, Colin, Jordan, actually even Svi Mihailuk, and then Kyle. So pretty good. And I'll bet if we went through the draft class last year, finding players whose estimated plus minus was at the even level of the 52nd percentile is probably not that many. His true shooting percentage was in the 69th percentile. His 2-point shooting was in the 91st percentile. So that's pretty great. His 3-point shooting actually by the end of the year was not very good, which is worth noting because he was not a great shooter in college. And in the summer league so far, he's 8 of 29. And we talked about the fact that he slumped at the end of the year. That's the key to everything with Kyle is that the premise of everything you believe in Kyle is that he's a stretch big, either a 4 or a 5 offensively, that is going to allow you to open up the floor for everybody else to have their driving lanes, and then his incredible ball handling, passing, ability to handle coming out of the break, things like that are going to give you great versatility. And then if you get a switch, that his size and strength is going to allow you to play him down low in the block. That's the scenario by which Kyle Filipowski is a very, very good, valuable offensive player who plays a lot. If the 3-point shooting's not there, some of these things start to crumble pretty fast. Then are you really playing 4 or 5 out because the defenders are sagging off him and like the Clippers did, daring him to shoot, and then he can't really play the handoff game with the same propensity or have that spin that he has out of the handoff game if they're dropping off him and not believing in the shot. So the shot is probably the foundational piece here that allows Kyle to use all of his other awesome skills to be that good of an offensive player.